You have no say in this. Now die! I'm Kane. Now, I'll make you wish you never met me.
Ah, Kane. We were so disappointed in you. All you did was get our teams killed and break our hearts. Now what do? Do we give up? Do we cast you aside? Nay, nay, I say. Kane, today begins your training arc. Today we find a way to make you good. No, more than good. Today we make you incredibly adequate. I mean, we make you better than the best. By a little bit. Yes, we know you can do it. Don't you quit us, cause we can't quit you. You will be best in slot. Together we can be better. Yes, we can. Okay, I'll stop with the Kane puns. Take your fingers off the thumbs down button. In all sincerity, this video will show you how to use Kane and Rift, and how he may well be the best unit for this mode. First, let me be clear on a few things before you run off and pull this Giga Chad. These are all reasons not to pull Kane, and they're reasons you should consider. 1. Kane's usefulness ends with the Rift season. Unless Smilegate finds another place for him at the end of the season, he will have about the same usefulness as Fire Haste. Although we may be able to use him in Ancient Inheritance well enough, that's the extent of it. He's bad in all other PvE. He's bad in Green Expo, he's bad in Golem, he's bad in Nightmare Raid, Guild War, Arena, and he's super ultra mega bad in RTA. Anybody who says different is capping. This is why I strongly recommend using Grace of Growth on Kane. Though you'll miss out on 15% damage on his S1, that's a pittance compared to the cost of plus 15 max level max awakening this guy. And when a new Rift season comes along, you can move the Grace of Growth to the new Rift unit that they will most likely come out with just for that season. Number 2, even though Kane may be best in slot at RC15 and above, it's by a very small amount. Milim is a half step behind him, and Jacko maybe 1 to 2 steps behind him. Even Mercedes can pull off his job decently. Kane will likely get you into the one-shot range faster than the other units, but you can 100% one-shot at RC15 with Milim, and that video will be up later. Number 3, by pulling him, you're supporting a terrible system of releasing PvE heroes who have an expiration date. You could say we have that with Expos, but Expos rotate way faster than Rift. I mean, who knows when Red Unit Rift will be back after it ends. It could be well over a year. And number 4 is we are due, actually overdue, for the custom triple summon, which has happened every 6 months on the nose, 3 times in a row now. I fully expect to see it revealed as early as this Tuesday, so be aware of this. And also be aware that Anniversary is coming up November 8th, and we're due for a collaboration, I'd say within the next several weeks. And number 5, even with Kane, this content may be beyond you. This content is for the multi-year player and or spender. Preliminary math shows that hunt buff events are better than this unless you can one-shot it or maybe two-shot it, jury's still out. That's a pretty massive barrier to entry. The stamina you'll have to spend to get there is huge, and many will never even get there. So if you don't have top-end gear, then don't pull for a unit who is for the one content that you're not ready for yet. Grow your account and be ready for the next Rift season. Don't waste your resources farming something that's lower value to your account than just straight up hunt buff events. Now to be fair, these are the reasons to pull Kane. 1, he may have his kit changed or buffed. I mean, it's a long shot, but it could happen. After he becomes useless when Rift is over, Smilegate could change his kit or give him a buff. Number 2 is you're a collector. This is an expensive pastime to be a collector in, but hey, you do you. And 3, probably the most viable reason to pull him, is you have the gear to make these teams, but you don't have Milim or Jacko, or you don't want to take them offline to use in Rift for 4 to 6 months. Now that I've covered all of that, I want to get into one of the interesting tidbits I learned. Rageset is not best in slot for Rift. The increased percent damage that you get from leveling your Rift controller levels, well, it's additive, not multiplicative. For those who don't understand what that means, without boring the pants off of you with math talk, it basically means the higher your Rift controller damage bonus, the less impactful Rageset becomes. In fact, I estimate the nexus being somewhere between RC11 and RC12. That's where Destro Set probably passes Rageset. For example, this is the S3 damage from a Rageset Milim on RC14, and this is the S3 damage from a Destruction Set Milim with lower MCD, that's Fribble speak for a measurement of potential damage. The MCD is higher due to Rageset, but the Rift controller damage modifier is having less of an impact. Now that said, I'll still use my Rage Gear on Rift. I'm not giving some of my best RTA Destro gear to make a slightly better Rift team. As long as you can one or two shot it, use whatever gear you have that doesn't wreck your RTA or other important content units. I just wanted to point this out for all the people who say, I can't do this because I never farmed Rage Gear. Well, at higher Rift levels, your good Destro gear will actually work better than equal Rage Gear. So, first I want to do a fair side-by-side comparison of Milim and Kane, as equal as possible. First, the Milim team. I took my standard RC8 to RC14 teams featured in my Discord as well as in my other videos. Mascot Hazel needs a 170 to 190 speed range. You've got to have 220% ER. Sorry about the 200% ER in the earlier videos, it's 220. You want her to be bulky, I'd say 15k by 1400 on your HP versus defense, and she can run Idol's Cheer, Prophetic Candlestick, or healing artifacts like Guardian Ice Crystal or Touch of Rekos. For Haste, you need to run him fast. You want to make sure he's got a chance to cycle that defense break. Target speed is 200 to 230 speed, 95% effectiveness plus the 10 from Hazel gets him to 105. 100% crit chance and the rest into crit damage and attack. Good artifacts for him are Dust Devil or RNL, more chances at defense break. Warhorn or Prophetic Candlestick also help him cycle around. His EE needs to be the #1 EE for more chances at defense breaks in case you whiff the S3. Now for Surin, I targeted her at 170 to 190 speed. I gave her 60% effectiveness because she's using the Alabastron artifact, which that combined with Mascot Hazel gets us up to the 105 effectiveness, 100% crit chance, and for HP or defense, if you're running her on lifesteal, she can be less tanky, like 9k by 900 is plenty on lifesteal. If you're not on lifesteal, I strongly recommend 12k to 1k HP to defense, otherwise you might not live as long as needed. The rest you pump into crit damage and attack because she does great damage. Good artifacts, I like Alabastron the best because it has a defense break on it, but Torn Sleeve and Prophetic Candlestick are also very good on her. And for Milim, target stats are 100% crit chance and the rest into crit damage and attack. You just build her for raw damage. Colladra is her best in slot artifact for a 30% damage boost. Our Beautiful Seasons is decent for a 20% damage boost, and Symbol of Unity bringing up the rear at 16% damage boost. Like all Rift teams, this one depends on sticking the defense break. Now some are using Fire Ken in place of Surin for more defense break chances, and that works pretty well, but my Ken has no Mola, and my Surin's damage just crushes my Ken's damage. Her mods are so good. Now to be fair, I ran many runs to get a perfect 100% defense break uptime video for both the Milim run and the Kane run. I wanted them to be as comparable as possible. This was my best run for Milim, and it ended at 15% HP left, which is a fantastic score. She was averaging between 18 to 25% HP left at this build. Now for complete transparency, we're going to put the exact same gear that was on Milim on Kane. The trick to running Kane is we need him to cycle faster. There are two ways to make him cycle faster that are perfect for this. And after dozens of runs, I think they're both about the same value. That trick is we run Full Metal's Auto Mail or Alexinox Wrath. I chose to run Alexinox Wrath simply because it gives me 100% crit. Auto Mail I fall a little short on. Use whichever is best for you. If you have neither, you'll need to speed Kane up. You'll need to run him 160 to 170 speed at least, or he just will not cycle fast enough to keep the debuffs up. And this will also lower his damage a great deal. With this build online though, we get all the way down to 21% health left. Wait, that's nearly a perfect run, and he's still 6% worse than Milim? Kane, what the hell, man? This was supposed to be your redemption arc. Well, it turns out this wasn't Kane's fault. He just needs to be supported by a better, faster team with smarter tuning and artifact selection. First, Mascot Hazel again. We're running the same Mascot Hazel we've always run, 170 to 190 speed range, the required 220% effect resistance. Her tankiness can be lower than this, but 15 by 1400 is very safe. For an artifact, we're going to run Idol's Cheer. I don't think any of the other artifacts work as well with Kane, so you got to put Idol's Cheer on her. If you don't have it, you're going to have to make Kane even faster. Now this is the same Haste as before, but he gets an upgrade in the form of a plus 15 Warhorn. This gives more damage to the team and helps cycle CR pushing Haste. I think it's just best in slot for him, but you could get away with Prophetic Candlestick. Our target speed is 210 to 230 speed, 95% effectiveness with the Mascot Hazel 10% boost gives us our 105 effectiveness, 100% crit chance, rest into crit damage and attack. Now Surin is the unit where we see the biggest changes. She does giga damage, and you should respect that. Her S3 nearly outdamages Milim, so I upped her to 200 to 220 speed. I gave her 95% effectiveness. Even if you have to use her self-imprint, make sure she's got the effectiveness. 100% crit chance, and the rest into crit damage and attack. Now Rageset or Destro set is ideal, but just max out her damage. Milk her damage for everything it's worth while maintaining the speed and effectiveness. For an artifact, I'm putting our Beautiful Seasons on her for 20% more damage. Molagora, ideally you want to max it out, but at least the S2 and the S3, that's where the bulk of her damage is. I know, she is glass, and it looks like she's just going to die before the end of the fight, and she probably will, but that's okay. As long as she extends the defense breaks and sticks with it for the majority of the fight, she does her job. I know we were talking about Kane, but we want full transparency, so first we're going to run the best Milim for this team. Milim needs to have speed boots for this to really work. I want to run her around 170 to 180 speed, and this is important or she will struggle to maintain the debuffs. 100% crit chance, the rest into crit damage. Caladra being the best in slot artifact, followed by our Beautiful Seasons and Symbol of Unity. We'll run the Kane team after this so we can compare apples to apples. Once again, we're reliant on defense breaks from Haste. If you don't get one, just restart. You can likely do the second run without a defense break. As you can see, the higher speed of Milim combined with the CR pushing of Idol's Cheer is cycling Milim fast enough to keep the debuffs up and running. If your Idol's Cheer is not max and you notice you're struggling to keep the debuffs up, you'll need to increase Milim's speed respectively. At the end of this enhanced run, we're left with 15% on the HP bar, which is pretty much the best Milim run I've ever had. Normally she scores 18 to 20% health left range. It's not that different from the other Milim team that I ran earlier, but over the period of several fights, it did wind up being, on the average, a little bit better than the previous team. But now it's Kane's turn. Kane has been waiting for this moment to show you what he's got. The rest of the team is exactly the same as the Milim team, so you can jump back to look at those stats. Now we look at Kane. We build Kane with as much damage as possible. Now this may change for the RC15 one-round team, but that will be covered in another video. For an artifact, I found there is nearly no difference between Full Metal's Automail at plus 30 and Alexinox Wrath at plus 21, but everyone will have their favorites. I'll run Alexinox Wrath because it gives me 100% crit chance, whereas Automail only leaves me with 97% crit chance. I left off Torrent Set because he just does more damage with the gear that I have than with my Torrent gear. My Torrent gear is not all that yet. As with all runs, no defense break means you probably need to restart. As long as you get the first defense break, you should do enough damage that you'll be able to auto the second team or the second round without a defense break. As we close in on RC21, I expect us to not have to worry about the defense break at the start anymore. Due to the extra attacks on Kane's S1, combined with the CR pushing from Alexinox Wrath or the speed boosting from Automail, he doesn't require the speed that Milim needed to maintain the debuffs. All these things cycle his skills very fast and maintain the debuffs a lot easier. It is pretty sad that he gives himself Gab after he does his S3 damage, WTF Smilegate, and that the boss does an AoE strip. I mean, it's like they were trying to screw poor Kane over, but with a little help from his friends, Giga Chad Kane achieves a solid 14%, which may not seem like much difference, but it's better than my best Milim score. In fact, my best Kane score so far has been 10%, and I'm sure I can do better. Heck, I may even one-tap it if I Mola Surin the rest of the way and Haste too, but I think I'll just wait for RC15, where I get the extra attacks Rift Fragment. That should for sure do it. I know it doesn't look like much of a difference, but Kane has been reliably hitting 5 to 7% better scores than Milim, averaging in the 10 to 15% health left versus Milim, who's typically ending in the 15 to 20% health left range. Best in slot, but only marginally. Milim will one turn clear just like Kane at RC15. The biggest benefit to Kane is truly for people who do not have Milim or Haste, or don't want to take them offline for months just for Rift content. So is he worth pulling? Well, that's a decision only you can make. With all that's coming soon, it's something you really have to decide on your own. As to his uses in Rift, my observations are using Kane in RC 1 through 7 will probably get your team killed. There are way better options than Kane. Using Kane in RC 8 through 14 is not really any better than Milim and only a little bit better than Jacko and Mercedes. Really no purpose. And at RC 15 he should be best in slot. He'll give you access to one-shot faster than anything else, but 100% Milim will be doing one-shots there as well, so that's a thing. Personally, I'm glad I have Kane, because now I can put Milim's RTA gear back on for those 5s of times that I need her per season in RTA, but also just because, God, he is just so damn cool. I hope this deep dive comparison helps people make up their minds about Kane. If you like this video and want to see more of my content, make sure you hit that like button, you smash that bell, and you ask Kane to kick that subscribe button right in the face. Have a great one, FX7.